Hey there, TikTakers! How are you doing? Today, we'll be talking about albinism. Are you familiar with this condition? We think it's a bit complicated to explain it correctly, but we'll do our best. In general, when we talk about albinism, we are referring to a specific type of this condition known as oculocutaneous albinism, although other kinds of albinism do exist. We'll talk about them later on in the video. Albinism is a group of hereditary conditions where the person produces a very low amount of melanin, or none at all. Do you know what melanin is, TikTakers? Many of you probably know it has something to do with our skin, and you would be right. The kind and amount of melanin our body produces determines not only the color of our skin, but also the color of our hair and eyes. Moreover, melanin can also play a role in the development of our optic nerves. This is why people with oculocutaneous albinism tend to have very clear skin, hair, and eyes, as well as eyesight problems. It is possible that you have seen at least one person with hair almost white, as well as very clear skin, which are the most noticeable features of someone with albinism. That said, their color of skin and hair can vary from white to chestnut. The sun can be especially damaging to people with albinism since their lack of pigmentation makes them more prone to developing skin cancer. Thus, they need to be especially diligent protecting their skin. In regards to their eyes, their color can go from a very clear blue to chestnut, and the same thing happens to the color of their skin and hair, which can vary over the years. Lack of pigments in the eye can also make their irises a bit translucent, which is why they sometimes can look red. Like we mentioned before, there are other types of albinism that exist, and the common trait of all of them is a deterioration of eyesight in the people who suffer from them. People with those kinds of albinism can suffer from strabismus, myopia, extreme sensibility to light, and many other related symptoms. Other kinds of albinism include ocular albinism, which is limited to the eyes, and albinism related to rare conditions such as the Hermansky-Pudlak syndrome. Under this syndrome, on top of all the symptoms consequence of oculocutaneous albinism, people who suffer from it can also experience bleeding problems, hematomas, as well as pulmonary and intestinal diseases. In regards to what causes albinism, it happens due to genetics. This condition takes place due to a mutation in a particular gene, and depending on the mutation, the person will suffer one kind of albinism or another. As we mentioned before, albinism can produce all sorts of physical symptoms, but it also has many social effects as well. Many times, people with albinism suffer from discrimination, which is unfortunate and unfair. Moreover, a person with albinism can have a very different appearance to the rest of their family, which can lead to them being rejected or even threatened. And so, TikTakers, we encourage you to not gaze at them in an invasive way, to not gossip about them, and especially to not be aggressive towards them, of course. People who suffer from albinism are rare, and they simply have a different appearance than the rest of us. So we invite you to treat them with respect and help them feel comfortable and accepted. We know you can do it. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it. And if you want to see more Draw My Life videos, subscribe to our channel. See you in the next episode.